let's do exactly the same for the SABC News International Desk. Let's speak to SABC News Specialist Correspondent Sophie Mokoena. Good afternoon, Sophie. Let's start in West Africa. ECOWAS, Heads of State and Government meeting. That's a body grappling with many, many challenges as it comes to peace and stability in that region.
Yes, you are correct. We saw the meeting of leaders of that region at the time where in the Sahel region, which is part of West Africa, there are many challenges. You know that it is now called a coup belt, that Sahel region, because of the coup in Guinea-Conakry. We mustn't forget that. We're still waiting to see whether Guinea-Conakry will go to elections before end of the year. You have a challenge where Mali also, there was a coup, Niger, Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau recently. And now we know that there are also political and security challenges in Benin after that coup, where the ECOWAS members were able to assist the sitting president to manage that security threat supported by France. And therefore, these are critical issues. And remember, ECOWAS this year was celebrating 50 years since it was started. It is the longest established regional organization on the continent. And many other regional organizations that came in Africa, Southern Africa, that is SADC, Central Africa, the North, some of them looked at ECOWAS to put up or to establish their own regional organizations. And therefore, if ECOWAS as a regional organization is in such shaky grounds, you can imagine the fear that other four regions might go through similar challenges. And therefore, the much talked about dream of a united Africa in terms of trading together as countries, if you don't achieve regional integration, you cannot achieve the continental integration. Yeah. And we heard that they also took a decision to put forward the name of the current president of Ghana to be the incoming chair of the AU Heads of Government Assembly, taking over from Angola in February, early February next year.
All right, let's go to the Great Lakes region. Tell me about what the M23 has been doing. Despite signing a peace agreement between Rwanda and the DRC, the complexity of that conflict continues to manifest.
Well, earlier on, some of us, we predicted that the Washington agreement it's not going to bring lasting solution to the current peace challenge in the DRC. Because to get a lasting solution, you must bring together all stakeholders. The peace agreement, whatever peace agreement you sign, it must be all stakeholders in the DRC, because you have more than 240 armed forces, and therefore you have to take that into consideration. Now, yes, Rwanda and the DRC signed that agreement. In fact, whoever drafted that took the peace agreement document that was signed here in Sun City, and that one was even much better because it included all stakeholders. The only thing that was not in that document is selling out or giving away the mineral rights as they relate to the DRC. This one, you give mineral rights, particularly the rare earth minerals, to America, as Trump has now pronounced that these two leaders said, I must take their minerals. And therefore, it was not going to produce a lasting solution. Therefore, M23 is advancing, it's capturing more areas in the eastern part of the DRC. You now have also Burundi that has been drawn in the battle line and also is now affecting the Great Lakes region. You are correct to look at the Great Lakes region now not necessarily the
Absolutely.
DRC, because you have Rwanda, you have Uganda also involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the statements that the M23 has been making towards Burundi in particular in the last few weeks, quite concerning. Speaking of Trump, you mentioned Trump there, Sophie. Tell me about him and the threats, the rumblings of a potential invasion of Venezuela. They are growing ever louder.
Yes, they are. Last week he made an announcement that he will start deploying the ground troops for ground operation. You know that it was mainly the seed saying that he's targeting those drug lords using those vessels to transport drugs around the world. But it looks like now he is really threatening to remove the current leader of Venezuela from power. That's something that he has been talking about, saying that he must leave. And America, the current leadership, supporting the opposition. But people are saying this has got nothing to do with drug lords. It has to do with oil. As you know that Venezuela has got oil. We saw the capture of that vessel that had oil by America, alleging that it was going to Iran. But you can see that it's something that has caused a lot of tension around the world. And people even questioning CISA's wisdom to give him the peace prize while he's threatening to invade Venezuela. And therefore, many countries have condemned this, including Russia and China, and the two countries emphasizing that they will continue to support Venezuela.
Lastly, Sophie, let's talk about Egypt and the role that it continues to play in the situation in Gaza. Tell me about this donor conference that they are hosting.
We expect Egypt, Cairo, to announce a date for the donor conference where they will invite many stakeholders to raise funds and resources to help people in Gaza and Palestine, particularly when you look at the humanitarian crisis that has developed there. Everybody has walked away from this conflict, even including us, media. We are not talking about the plight of the Palestinians anymore. This winter time, you can see the floods, the challenges of poverty. It's just a disaster, a terrible disaster, and the UN is struggling. But you don't have resources, and therefore Egypt, the neighbor, intends to have this donor conference. I was told by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Egypt when they were here for the G20 meeting that they will even invite South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to attend the donor conference, but we don't know when will that happen. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about in the north, including Eritrea deciding to abandon the Horn of Africa IGAD regional organization, almost like those countries in the Coup Belt who have decided to move away, to abandon their membership as ECOWAS. So there's a lot in the north.
All right. Thank you for that, Sophie. That's Sophie Mokoena, SABC News Specialist Correspondent, opening up the international desk's diary for the next few days. This is the week ahead on SABC News.